Dirt Racing 24 will be available September 17th. Pre-order your copy today.
It's a finale for Ozicar Formula 4 at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Exciting track and an awesome championship we've had. Great racing everywhere we've been. The drivers can't speak highly enough of it, and it's always close when we go to a high-speed racetrack in these Formula 4 cars, and the stakes have simply never been higher. David Haynes here on Simspeed TV with Jason Fewens, Jay Kennedy behind the cameras, production and replays. We love it, Jason. It's going to be high speeds at this version of Barcelona in a car that slipstreams and races so well.
Si, senor. This is one of those circuits that really doesn't matter what you throw at it, whether it be open wheelers, motorbikes, two wheels, touring cars. It really produces really good racing. Has great opportunity for change of direction, switch back. There's a bit of everything: flowing corners, hard braking corners, off camber corners. And tonight in Formula 4, I think these guys are really going to put on a really good show, and it's going to be an absolute cracking way to end Season 3 of 2024.
So this is the version of the circuit we're racing on. It's the historic. No one really likes that final chicane, and what it does is it makes the speed onto the front straight even higher as they carry more downhill through 13 and 14 onto that front straight. A lot of other great places you can battle side by side through turns 1, 2 and 3, and even through to 5 up through 7 and 8. Those parts of the lap, we'll see how that racing plays out tonight. 4.8 kilometers, 14 corners clockwise. The rain in Spain falls, well, who knows, but we'll find out across the two races tonight that will decide the championship. Race 1 qualifying is underway, and that's 11 laps of 20 minutes. Grid set by qualifying. Progressive grid into race number 2, so you don't want to be crashing out of race number 1.
It's absolutely critical. If you want to end the season on an absolute high, it's all about retaining track position, making most of the opportunities that are presented to you. Like you said, the weather could be a big factor in tonight's race. So potentially all you've got to do is stay between the white lines, keep off the curbs, and you might find a couple of drivers that a little bit further back sneak up and grab a couple of positions and a good points haul towards the end of the year.
Up top, it's so close. We're coming into the final round, and Jamie Stovall leads his teammate Tom Freer by just 4 points in this championship. Not too far behind them, Tim Harris and Doug Gowans and Tony Baker. Ben Wheeler, Nathan Verney, Warren Henry, Ira Felberg and John Snell are the top 10 in championship points coming into the final race. For the teammates Stovall and Freer, they had such a great battle at Jerez a couple of rounds back. And again, it's going to be which teammate can get one over the other potentially to see who takes the championship. Tiny sprinkles of rain just beginning to fall as they grid up in this order. John Merritt on pole position, 5 thousandths of a second ahead of Jamie Stovall, who I think will be pretty happy to be on that front row. And then just behind them, Adrian Duke and Tim Harris are 3rd and 4th. Again, super competitive in this qualifying. 0.2 of a second from pole to 5th. And that's where Tom Freer finds himself alongside Tony Baker, who'll start out of 6th. Nathan Verney and Milton Borton are 7th and 8th on the row number 4. And then Jordan Dakin and Ira Felberg here, 9th and 10th. You've got John Snell, Nathan Verney. No, you don't. You've got Warren Henry, Brent Wassell, 11th and 12th. And then John Snell in 13th. It's another driver without a qualifying time, I think. And we're still waiting on the pole sitter to get to the grid, and he won't. Slow getaway from 3rd place. Big movement immediately behind. Jamie Stovall straight to the lead of the race. Massive move. Who's that picking his way through? Could be Jordan Dakin. And there, look at that start from Tom Freer as well. Just a tiny bit of water on the track. A little bit more weather coming. I think. I'm not sure what tyres they're all on, Jason.
Yeah, I'm sure if they're bound to have a lot of experience under their belts by now. You'd expect everybody to be on wets. Just a bit of a notice, I did see Timmy Harris make a bit of a jump start there as well, so he's probably potentially going to dive into the pits. He's sitting currently in P6. He was starting off the second row of the grid, so he has gone backwards, but it's only going to get worse for him. As we see one of the locked-on cars dive off the track as well. Nathan Verney try and do a safe rejoin, but potentially going 3 wide in the process, trying to get back up to speed.
Has John Merritt made a pit lane start, or is there some confusion there? There was rain coming, more rain to come later in this race as well. A few drivers, I'm sure, in the moments before going to the grid, thinking about what tyres am I going to put on. I do believe everyone is on wet tyres. The track's not super wet now, but it will get worse. Tom Freer's got a 1 second lead over Jamie Stovall, Adrian Duke at the moment.
Yeah, this is probably the first real heavy braking zone the drivers are going to experience here on the opening lap at full speed. So running wide there is one of the Pulsar Chuka Toyota liveries of, might be...
Tim Harris, was it? I think it was Tim Harris.
Possibly,
Well, there's a couple drivers out there potentially. It does look tricky. You see a little bit of rain coming down, but it's not massive on the circuit just yet. It's, what I'm reading says 3% rain. So I think that's on a scale of how intense it possibly could be. And so, yeah, light rain in regular words that normal people use.
Adrian Duke on screen at the moment as well. He's back after a bit of a break, missing the last round. So he's come back sitting in P3 at the moment. Plenty of speed, and he is looking for a way around Jamie Stovall, looking for an unorthodox line in the last sector of the previous lap. Outside's not going to do it, potentially looking for the switchback, but the change of direction looks like Jamie's got this covered going into turn 3.
On board with Adrian Duke in 3rd place, taking a different line through turn number 3. Where is the grip? Is there any grip anywhere? And yes, those are definitely grooved tyres, because the driveway, the tyres are slick on an F4 car. And they're searching around the grip. But turn number 4 here opens a little bit on the exit, trying to get some of that traction down. John Merritt, what progress he's made. Started from pit lane, having qualified on pole. I don't know what's about that. So that should have taken him from the rear of the grid, and he's now already up into 5th. Taking the replay there, fronts lock up, runs wide for Tim Harris, who already had a drive through to serve, which he then went and did after that. It puts him down into the 12th position. The weather really just throws it all up in the air, and it lands as a mess. And we'll see how that unfolds over this race with drama like Milton Borton off through the gravel.
Yeah, not the start that Timmy Harris would have wanted, sitting quite high in the championship standings, but there's a long way to go tonight. Tricky conditions. All he's got to do is keep a calm, level head as we see another spin happen on screen facing the wrong way. That's Jordan Dakin, and he has to wait for the barrage of cars to go through for a quick little flick spin, and he gets back underway not before putting on a bit of an expression session for us.
A lot of red paint there, and apparently all very, very slippery. We're on board with Dakin right as he lost the rear in Lakasha, the left-hander there. I've probably butchered the pronunciation. No worse than Jason Fewens greeting me in Spanish when the circuit name is in Catalan.
I never claimed to be overly smart.
That's all right. That's all right. All I know is that this is Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, whereas if it was Spanish, it'd be Circuito de Barcelona, Catalunya. So the name's actually not in Spanish.
All right, that's enough talking about me. Let's get back to the action. Turn 1, and we have a good little battle a little bit further back in the field. Tony Baker, Brent Rossell, as we jump on board with Brent at the moment. Sitting in P8, the No Love Racing machine. Getting a good drive out of here, and he's potentially going to put Tony under a bit of braking pressure as they make their way under the bridge to enter the infield section of the circuit. Really is only one line out there at the moment, unless you're extremely brave and you're ready to step off what is the grippy section of the circuit and take a gamble.
Yeah, indeed, breaking through different lines there. Curbs and the concrete on the outside of the curbs should be pretty slippery right now. The rain is sustained, and there is a little more coming as well, so there's no time that it's going to dry out in this race. It's for race 2. I simply couldn't tell you until we get there. But with the 11 laps or 20 minutes and this rain, the lead had gone off. The lead has gone wide. I think Freer drops back. Stovall into the lead of the race. Adrian Duke goes through, and Tom Freer has made a mistake. He's now behind his teammate. There's only 4 points that's been separating them. Take a look here. Front locking, runs wide. Tim Harris, eat your heart out.
Yeah, the beauty of a little bit of rain makes that gravel trap out on the outside relatively compacted, so it's best case scenario to get back up to speed, get the car turned, because there's probably more grip out there on the gravel than there is on the track at the moment.
Yeah, and they're not getting stuck in it, thank goodness. And then Jamie Stovall goes for the fastest lap of the race there, as well as he goes through. So that's going well for him. Brings our top three back within 1 second of each other. Freya, well, at least he knows now where the grip isn't, as Tim Harris with that drive-through now charging back through the field, passes Jordan Dakin. Harris was as far back as 12th at one point. He's gained a few positions, making passes on track, a few positions as others have run off track. He's also made another one as John Merritt, unfortunately. Technical issues for him, not for the first time tonight, not for the first time in this series. Drops John Merritt out of this race, which is a real shame.
So the battle back up the front, two SSR drivers in Jamie Stovall and Tom Freer. They are separated by the Powered by Coffee driver of Adrian Duke, currently in P2 at the moment, looking pretty comfortable. From the moment the lights did go green, he has been pretty racy, so looking pretty comfortable, feeling the car conditions and everything are well under his control at this point, sitting in a pretty good spot, P2. So we're on lap 4 of 11 here in the first race. Of course, it is a progressive grid, so these guys here have got absolute daylight. You can just see Warren Henry in the background, P4, coming onto that middle section of the circuit and having a couple of technical difficulties himself. But P4 for Warren Henry at the moment, he'd be absolutely loving this.
Second place, Adrian Duke, massive slide there for him, sandwiched between Synergy Sim Racing teammates, and now the pressure is on as Tom Freer going to have a look at him through the final corner. Where's the grip? Where is it? Is it a little bit wide there? Is it by taking the most optimal racing line? I think it might be a little closer to the apex than they think. Freer has his nose in front. Jamie Stovall, race leader, kind of moves across a little bit, sharing the slipstream around for however strong that is in these wet conditions, and then they head downhill into the braking zone of 1, and they've got to brake a fair bit earlier than they otherwise would have to if it were dry.
So the order has been mixed up a little bit. Fastest lap of the race, Timmy Harris. We were just talking about him a moment ago. He's taken a 1:53.5. Yeah, he is making up for lost time. He's got Tony Baker in his sights as well, who's only about a second and a half down the road. So it's not unrealistic that Tim, after that drive-through and the off-track on the opening lap, could eventually end up with the top 5 position by the end of this.
Leader did a 1 minute 54.7. Tim Harris did a 1:53.5, 1.2 seconds quicker. But then critically, he's 2 seconds quicker than Tony Baker, almost 5 seconds quicker than John Snell. He's just eating time out of everyone except the podium placing cars. And in their case, he's just eating about a second a lap out of them. He is flying, but he must be then kicking himself about 1, the jump start, 2, driving it off the road on lap 1 as well. He would be out and clear in this race with the kind of pace he's just shown. John Merritt's back on track, a lap and a half down.
Yeah, as if this weather stays like this, we'll be very interested to see how Timmy Harris takes control of race number 2. So we'll have to wait and see whether the weather gods fall in his favour. He's doing a pretty good job at the moment on circuit. It's the 04 car of Tony Baker having a bit of a spin, getting back in the right direction again, so that does relegate Tim Harris up to P6.
Baker resumes just behind Jordan Dakin in the middle of the field there. Up front, teammates first and second, as we've seen a couple of times this season of Ozicar Formula 4. Jamie Stovall and Tom Freer. Stovall leads the championship. Stovall leads on track right now in race 1, but with more weather to come. It's still pretty light rain right now, but I think race 2 could be even wetter. You look further back through the field, here's the progress of Tim Harris that he's made on John Snell. That lap, only 3 seconds quicker than John Snell was Tim Harris. He's flying.
So looking for a way down the inside. John Snell doesn't put up too much of an argument. It's all about picking your battles and being there at the end again. A progressive grid for race number 2, probably playing a factor in his mind at the moment. So Tim Harris has his eyes on Warren Henry. It's the next car down the track. He's a complete 2 seconds down the road. But at the rate he's going, by next lap, he should just about be smelling the tailpipes of Warren Henry.
Onboard second place, looking at the leader who's just 3/10 ahead. Great run uphill over that crest from Tom Freer. He carries so much speed. He gets super close to Jamie Stovall. Freer wins this race and he wins race 2. He can take the championship. Jamie Stovall's got him covered at the moment. We saw these two battle at Jerez, and I think Stovall kind of got the better of Freer when it was really all on the line in the final lap on those occasions. Out wide, a bit of a snap from both of them. You can see that the conditions are not getting any easier. As they spin, Tom Freer around once, high sides it on the curb, gets going again. Is he going to retain second place? It'll be close from Adrian Duke, but this is the lifeline that Jamie Stovall will absolutely relish.
Yeah, style points to a grind across the sausage curve as well. Doesn't get the run onto the straight he'd prefer, gives Adrian Duke a sniff into the braking zone, but absolutely style points. If you could hand them out today, Tom Freer is definitely going for the most exciting driver out on circuit at the moment. We do know the Synergy guys don't have any team orders amongst themselves. As you said, in Jerez, I think the whole 3 sprint races were separated by less than a second if you added all the times together. Looks like Tom Freer's got the inside line on Adrian Duke, but Adrian has a bit better run on the outside to carry that extra speed. But heavy onto the brakes is Tom Freer. Takes that position back as Adrian tries to switch back, gets that nose cone tucked right underneath the rear wing, almost getting a bit of blue paint on the nose, but relegates himself back to third.
Insane what the weather does. Tim Harris has served a drive-through penalty, been off the road, got back on the track. Now he sits in 4th place, having just moved on Warren Henry. It's the top 3, though, that are going to be difficult to catch. That's what we look right here from the nose of Adrian Duke behind Tom Freer.
So you can see the spray kicking up. It is relatively wet out there on track, but nowhere around the circuit is there any standing water at the moment. So it's can definitely get a lot wetter and a lot worse conditions potentially before the end of the meeting today. But at the moment, it is a bit of a tippy-toe walking on eggshells, and all the drivers, even though we're 6-7 laps into race number 1, they're still out there searching for maximum optimum grip.
Pole was a 1:41, so we are 13 seconds a lap away from that at the moment. Not a minute away from it, but certainly that's the degradation of grip and performance from the wet weather, from the spitting rain that we have at the moment. Could be a lot worse, but certainly the longer they go on, you see this amount of spray. Slick tyres absolutely would not have been the way.
No, you can see on the graphic everybody did go out on wets, well at least they're on wets now. I don't think Timmy Harris would have changed and win that drive-through penalty. So it was pretty much a no-brainer. Again, these drivers have had plenty of experience in different changing conditions over the course of the season, so it's we've seen earlier in the season some drivers take some gambles, try the slick on early on and see if they can make it work. But with the forecast and the radar at the moment, it's wet now with more rain to come.
Yep, no way it gets any drier than this, and definitely a chance it gets wetter and pools in more places. You see sometimes the drivers run a bit wide in search of some grip. Other places, the normal dry racing line is still the way to go. Through the final quarter, that seemed like the case. Just so the grip is moving around in these intermediate conditions. A little bit of a slide, a little bit wide from Tom Freer there. Keeps Adrian Duke on him for the moment. You can see top left of screen, Jamie Stovall is getting away further and further from these guys. Now 4 seconds with the time on the clock now, not the laps remaining.
Yeah, Jamie's just pretty well a bit of mist in the distance for Tom at the moment. He's got a lot of work to do if he's going to regain any and wants to put any pressure on his teammate. We see Milton Borton into the pits as well, so unscheduled pit stop. These guys shouldn't really need a pit stop as such. I can't imagine why he'd be going in to change tyres, so a bit of an unscheduled one there. Maybe he's got some damage and he's going to retire the car.
Could have gotten some underfloor damage or something off one of the curbs around here. We certainly saw some make contact with some sausage curb before the final corner. So there's possibilities. I don't think it's a tyres or a fuel thing. It might have just been damage in his particular case. He's going to have to be careful where he blends because he's going to let Tom Freer and Adrian Duke go.
Yeah, absolutely. Right decision there. It's no point getting involved in the leaders at this stage of the race. It's not his race to get involved with, so he just does the right thing, stays off the racing line and continues circuiting. He isn't the last leader, the last driver on the circuit at the moment. It is John Merritt after his dropout and technical issue earlier on. So he is still racing for position and points. Tony Baker on screen at the moment as well. He's got Jordan Dakin in hot pursuit from Dakin Motorsport. So this is P6, P7 on circuit, and these guys are separated by about 1.8 seconds. So Jordan doing his best to try and reel in Tony Baker and gain another position as the laps count down.
Quite a slow lap from Dakin last lap, 2 minutes. Suggests it didn't go all to plan for him as Ira Felberg is off. That must be the final corner. Nathan Verney's off, I think, at turn 2. All happening. Like I said, it's not getting drier, it's only getting wetter. And yeah, there is Nathan Verney, 10th at the moment. Pretty sure 10th is where he was. So into turn 1 he goes, and yeah, I mean, he spins out in turn 2, but it was from turn 1. Brent Wassel is spun out live right now. He's just gotten going. It's going from a bit slippery to super difficult out there. Adrian Duke spins from 3rd. Someone put oil down or something? They are all spinning out all of a sudden.
Look who's just stepped up into P3. Tim Harris has got by Adrian Duke, I think you'll find.
Yeah.
Have a look at the Ozicar.net replay. This is Adrian Duke trying to get back up to speed. I think the gap was about 11 seconds.
You see Milton Borton unlapping himself? Is that possible?
Potentially. This is Timmy Harris here, so he's back within about 3 seconds now off a podium position.
Lap 10 of 11 with 2 minutes left. I think because the rain was so light at the start, we might go the full 11 laps in this one. I don't think Jamie Stovall's going to bother or mind whether it's 10 laps or 11 laps in this race. He's got a 5-second lead over drivers who keep spinning out behind him. Tom Freer in 2nd, Adrian Duke a little further back in 3rd, like I said, only just ahead of a super charging Tim Harris. And then Warren Henry and Tony Baker are going to fight it out over 5th and 6th here. Last lap, Baker was a little bit quicker. Verney, more problems for him around the racetrack. Back with Baker and Henry.
Yeah, lap 10 of 11, so we're getting down to the pointy end of race number 1. So Tony Baker trying to get on the accelerator. You can see the different lines as they're looking for potential opportunities to get past. This is Baker having a big dive under brakes, and it is Warren Henry just leaving the door open, not challenging that too much. So it's this late in the race, I'd expect you to be potentially battling for every point, every position, but again, race number 2 quickly coming up, and your grid is going to be determined by your finishing positions here in race number 1. So Warren just might be keeping a clean car, clean head, and putting it all on the line for race number 2.
Well, when Tim Harris set the fastest lap of the race, it was a 153.5. The track was just a tiny bit drier. Now the fastest car on track is still him, but doing a 155.7. We've lost just a little bit of grip, a little bit of lap time, and it's gone to show. Some of the drivers are carrying speed, breaking points, and taking lines that they were at the start of the race and coming unstuck from them. And as we begin the final lap of race 1 of 2 for the season finale of Ozicar Formula 4, the championship leader leads by almost 8 seconds. Tim Harris still has a chance to stand on the podium here in race 1 if he can put some pressure on Adrian Duke. That's what we're watching now.
Yeah, that's his best chance to get a podium, but also he has the luxury of applying a little bit more pressure, pushing it a little bit harder, because it's another 13 seconds back to Tony Baker in P5. So if he does have a spin, he's got another 10 or 12 seconds to get back on the track and back up to speed before he's under any pressure himself. So really he's got very little to lose here at the moment. He is pushing as hard as he potentially can. That gap's down to about 1.5 seconds. You can visually see it on your screen at the moment with half a lap to go. It's going to be a big ask, and it is going to be a mistake from Adrian Duke if he is going to make anything of this. But Adrian's got plenty of laps under his belt, both in this car and in this series, so I wouldn't want to put the knocker on him at this stage of the race. I think he will do a pretty good job of bringing this one home.
grey steering wheel and big colourful buttons on it reminds me of a Nintendo 64 controller or something for some reason. But the wheel work is super important in these conditions. You've seen a little bit of countersteer, just trying to keep the car balanced through the corners is how you're going to go quick, but it's a super challenging thing to do in these conditions. Not even quite within 1 second here. Tim Harris might need a little bit of a miracle in the final sector. Jamie Stovall, well, he's parted the seas and he's going to come out the final corner to extend his championship lead heading into the finale. Jamie Stovall wins race 1 at Barcelona, extending his championship lead.
It ended up being over 11 seconds by the time he crosses the line, so absolutely stellar performance from him. Didn't panic early when he didn't get the lead from his teammate. Adrian Duke crossing the line now in P3 as well. And Timmy Harris has had a moment.
Yeah, he spun out. So did Jordan Dakin. Dakin's ended up behind Warren Henry, so that's a position changing on the final lap. But in pursuit of third, this is what Tim Harris did. Man, ooh. A little too exciting. Here's Warren Henry crossing the line with the position that he managed to pick off just at the end there with Dakin's spin.
So 13 drivers started the race, 13 drivers finished despite the tricky conditions out there at the moment. A couple of drivers were a lap down through potential technical difficulties of one kind or another. So John Merritt being one of those. He's making his way around through the last sector at the moment. Staying off that sausage curb on the left-hand side, it can be very aggressive. Drift points coming onto the straight, putting on a show for all the spectators as he crosses the line to get the checkered flag. He will be happy to put that race behind him and get ready to focus on race number 2.
And then you got just a couple of cars left. Last on the lead laps, Nathan Verney and Ira Felberg. So here's Verney and here's Felberg, just avoided going the lap down, probably by about 4 or 5 seconds, I think. But it means he will come around to finish 11th ahead of those two cars, those two drivers who fell a lap down in race number 1. And between now and race 2, there's going to be a bit more rainfall on the racetrack. Something for the drivers to think about before we head into the final race of the season. This is the results from race number 1, though. Jamie Stovall, Tom Freer, Adrian Duke the podium. Tim Harris up and down the field like a yo-yo. Great late charge. Didn't quite net the results he was after. And then Tony Baker and Warren Henry in the 5th and the 6th. Jordan Dakin, John Snell, Brent Wassell, Nathan Verney, and like we said, Ira Felberg, last car on the lead lap. Milton Borton and John Merritt, 1 lap down with different types of dramas for those two. The championship, though, is still possible for Tom Freer to snatch away from Jamie Stovall in the final race. And when the final race finishes for Ozicar Formula 4, it will not be the end of Aussie car action. There's a new season on the horizon, Season 5. Here's the schedule for when Aussie car Formula Ford returns, Jason.
Yes, there's will be a UK tour, as you can see. Got some amazing tracks on the schedule. Again, it'll be fortnightly broadcast here on Simspeed TV. We'll start the season at Caldwell Park. It'll be the Silverstone International Circuit end of September before visiting the Brands Hatch, the ever undulating and renowned circuit there, the Grand Prix circuit.
You mean the Grand Prix?
Correct. Donington, Snetterton, and then a touch of Belgium to round out the season in late November. So, again, some tight, twisty tracks, some fast-flowing tracks, some undulating tracks. The team at Aussie Car are really throwing everything at this Season 5 coming up, and no doubt the racing will be every bit as entertaining as it has been here in Formula 4.
Yeah, there's a reason there's so many drivers we've seen season after season in Aussie Car for the community, for the racing. And again, going to be broadcast. And there's a reason we've got some of our supporters back as well. So, Sim Racing League's Locked On Lads and Prestige Trophy Badge and Engraving supporters of Aussie Car Formula 4 Series. And Aussie Car supports the No Social Hate campaign. There's one race left to come from Circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia, and it will decide the championship, likely between the two Synergy Sim Racing drivers. Stick around because that's what's on the line when we return.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
One race left to decide it all at the season finale of Ozicar Formula Ford. The championship leader extending his advantage into the final race. Jamie Stovall now more than 4 points clear of Tom Freer. Freer he needs a miracle, I think, but miracles happen in conditions like these. Look at that rain getting heavier, real heavy patch over the circuit right now. It says light rain, but it's moderate at least on the radar. 20 degrees in the air, 22 on the track, overcast, just a little bit of gusting wind as well to go with it. This warm-up session about to end, and then we'll look at the grid for race number 2. Purely progressive from the finishing order of race number 1 that we just saw.
Yeah, track conditions are changing slightly. The temperature's about the same. The wind conditions have changed a little bit. The wind's moved around, but about the same knots out there at the moment. But definitely there is more rain coming. So, bit of a no-brainer. Everybody should start on slick tyres. But I am looking at Milton Borton, and he does look like he is on slicks. But Jamie Stovall, Tom Freer will be starting off the front row of the grid. Adrian Duke and Tony Harris making up row number 2. Tony Baker and Warren Henry are out of positions by 5 and 6 for our final start for the season 3. Jordan Dakin, John Snell, Brent Wassell and Nathan Verney. They do make up your top 10. And then Ira Felberg, Milton Borton, and after some technical difficulties, John Merritt is looking for a redemption race.
The rain is falling, the drivers are on the grid, the engines are revving, everyone who's on the grid is on wet tyres. Jordan Dakin though, he's the empty spot in the middle there. A standing start's difficult in these cars. In the dry, it's even more challenging in the wet. Stovall gets away well, Freer's immediately into his slipstream. 3 wide for all the positions behind. Harris and Baker get a spot on Duke, fanning out for the race lead. Where's the grip at? Around the outside, super confidence for Tom Freer as he puts himself in front of Jamie Stovall. Turn 1, lap 1. A little bit of contact there for Tim Harris as well. Driver was a little unlucky perhaps in race number 1, but everyone seems... No, Tony Baker's jumped to the start this time.
Yeah, Tom Freer putting absolutely his intentions on the line for the going into the opening corner of race number 2 tonight. Anything he has to do is he has to win this race, and Jamie has to finish further back than second. So it's SSR out in front 1 and 2 at the moment. The still cars driving off the circuit in search for grip, try and make a nice clean entry is Tony Baker. It's going to be hard because it is on the racing line.
Giving us the Tim Harris special, a jump start and a run through the gravel on lap 1 of the race. Fortunate for Tony Baker. A little bit of contact further up the road there. John Snell alongside John Merritt perhaps even, and that is, how does a jump start? Let the clutch out too early before the lights had gone out.
Didn't look like he was outside of his box though, but sometimes...
but he moved, so...
no doubt about that. A little bit deceiving sometimes just how far they do creep forward. So
you can argue the advantage, but you can't argue that he moved before the lights went out. So in that way, it's a penalty to him. Got some dramas into Lancashire there in the braking zone. Tom Freer still leading from Jamie Stovall. Tim Harris now up into that 3rd spot. Major in Duke, but it's John Merritt, John Snell, Tony Baker here. Baker on the throttle, getting super wide as they go up towards the top of the hill. Track now descends downward through the fast final corners. No chicane and hardly missed. Baker has a drive through to serve from jumping the start.
Yeah, we watch him go in through pit lane. It can be deceiving. You can actually run a little bit quick in through there, particularly in these conditions, and hit the outside wall, but he manages to do it without too much drama. Back up the front, completing the first lap. It is Tom Freer, Stovall, Timmy Harris, Adrian Duke. They make up your top four. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Warren Henry and John Merritt, John Snell. So the top four we saw in race number 1 are currently in similar positions, just slightly mixed around here on lap 2, race 2.
Top 4 in screen on lap number 2 of this race. Again, it's wetter. The lap times could be slower, so we could be in play for the time certain 20 minutes on this race that we didn't reach in race 1 when things were a little drier, lap times were a little quicker. Different lines again. That's key of all of the corners. That left-hander there at turn 5, I think it is. For different lines in these conditions. Some drivers really getting to the apex, some drivers well around the outside. Tim Harris, who had the fastest lap with a 1:53 in race number 1.
Jordan Dakin going down the inside of Milton Borton there through the infield section, taking command. So done that with quite ease and confidence.
Dakin was a pit lane start, so now he's working his way back into this race from that 11th place. And John Merritt, we talked about starting out of 13th after a horrible race 1, technical problems predominantly for him. He's already up into 5th, 8 positions gained. I guess only 7 if you account for Jordan Dakin not starting from the grid.
Side by side through the infield section, this is the Aussie car of RFL.
Dakin's got new colours around the outside.
Yeah, and you can see in the background is Milton Borton. So closest little battle on circuit at the moment is these three. Going through that second to last corner, there's 3 different lines as Ira takes out 5 out of 5 cones on the GP part of the circuit. But down in turn 1, it is all smooth sailing for the first 4 drivers. A little bit further back on the main straight, Nathan Verney doing the 6-point turn to get back under control and pointing in the right direction.
It's confused timing and scoring as well, and now it corrects. I don't know why it wanted to call him the race leader for having a spin in the final corner. There it is. He's gone backwards across the start-finish line, and it's counted him twice. Seriously, there's the start-finish line, and he's reversed over it for a second time. Oh, I didn't know that the iRacing race control could get confused by that, but eventually it quite quickly figured it out. And Jamie Stovall, leader of the race, Tim Harris and Adrian Duke right here.
So the conditions on circuit are actually potentially easing up a little bit as well. The worst of it might be behind us. We'll try and get a quick radar visual shortly, but you can see at the moment the weather conditions looking pretty stagnant. You can see both the track temperature and the ambient temperature there at the moment, and the rain down the bottom just ever so slightly just easing off a little bit for these drivers out there.
Yeah, it's quite a short timeline on that graphic, only going back really to the start of this race, but just before the race began, the rain was falling more heavily, more millimetres per hour than it is now. We've got all of the drivers out there and running. John Merritt has the fastest lap of the race, and he's working his way up towards a podium position here, showing us everything we missed out on. Well, he's about to get 4th, because that's Adrian Duke spinning and into the wall. Same place that Nathan Verney did.
Yeah, very soft little kiss of the wall there from his left-hand rear tyre, but in the process, while he gets back up to speed, he loses 3 positions, I think it is, and that is going to drop him back down to P8. So potentially fighting for a spot on the podium now. He's got a bit of work to do in the remaining 7 laps, or we'll call it about 12 minutes. As Brent Wassel in P7 goes in and makes good ground on John Snell in front of him. These two here have had a pretty good battle throughout the course of the season. Also respect shown from everybody throughout the course of the Aussie car. Brent just getting a little bit loosey-goosey right through the long right-hander there at turn 3. Just gives John a little bit more breathing room.
In dry conditions in this car, turn 3 would be a bit of a nothing. The F4 car in dry conditions, it's got a bit of downforce, it's very light, it's got slick tyres of a decent size. It's sort of a lot of grip with not a lot of horsepower in most conditions. But then the rain, man, does that change things and make a braking zone and a corner and a slide out of places that would not be in dry conditions.
It's almost like a skippy when they slide in these things in the wet. It's relatively easy to catch if you get it early enough, but once you allow the car to get a little bit of momentum, the back can come around on you pretty quick, as we've seen Nathan Burney and Adrian Duke find out so far in race number 2. Speaking of Duke, he is back on the attack. He has made his way onto the back of the Snell-Wassell battle, and he is looking to recoup those positions he lost just half a lap ago.
Here he goes. Is there much grip on the tight line through here if you get your nose in? Not sure there is. There's not a whole lot of grip there for Brent Wassell as he spins around. Adrian Duke goes through. Wassell comes to a stop but doesn't hit anything. Adrian Duke back up to 7th place.
So fastest lap of the race, new contender for that, John Merritt with a 56.1. He has latched onto the back of his teammate Timmy Harris. So this is the battle for 3rd and 4th. So starting from the back of the grid in just 5 laps to go, he is our biggest mover and shaker. So he's up to P4, car number 4, fastest lap of the race in the process, looking for an opportunity to get down the inside of his teammate. If he can hold it, he will have the inside line for the next right-hander, but not necessarily is where he will find the grip as Tim Harris tries to hold it around the outside. Again, doesn't look like there's any team orders between these two drivers on circuit at the moment. They're all fighting for their own battles.
Yeah, a bit more grip for Harris there, a bit more grip for John Merritt here. Not a whole lot of grip in the traction zone for Harris. They're both still struggling with this, but we're getting a little bit more of the sun coming out, and a little dry towards the end of this race could give him a little more confidence. Wide on the way in, how's the speed up the hill? John Merritt, again, is all over Tim Harris, but hasn't been able to easily get through, despite the pace advantage that he might be working with. Another poor exit from Harris, heading down the back straight into the braking zone here. Around the outside looks John Merritt, and up into 3rd he goes. So Tom Freer leads from Jamie Stovall, from John Merritt now. The way things run right now, 1 win and a 2nd for Tom Freer, 1 win and a 2nd for Jamie Stovall. Jamie Stovall would become Aussie car champion. So for Freer, he really needs these drivers to get up and in between him and Jamie Stovall. Otherwise, they'll both leave here pretty well equal points, and Freer won't be able to close that gap.
It should be that 4 gap that they had distance between themselves at the start of the final round. So Tom Freer will be doing everything he can to potentially try and increase that gap, allow John Merritt to get on the back of Jamie Stovall and put himself under some pressure. But again, Jamie isn't our championship leader for no reason. Cool, calm, collective head. He knows what he's got to do. He would be quite aware all he's got to do is sit in P2 at the moment, and he potentially will be crowned Season 3 Aussie car champion-elect. But it's not over till the fat lady sings, and there is another 5 laps or another 5 choruses to go before we can actually say with any confidence who we will be celebrating at the end of tonight.
Verse chorus bridge. Perhaps John Merritt with another fastest lap of the race, 156.1. So he's just so good with his car in these conditions. They're Stovall trying to find grip out wide. Merritt runs the line a little bit tighter through that tight downhill left-hander. That's where we're in the field. John Snell's last lap was not particularly great. Jordan Dakins was a little bit quicker. Well, 4 seconds quicker.
Yeah, so Jordan's just found himself in that mid-pack battle. He's had a bit of an up and down night, had some spins, found himself facing the wrong direction. He's got more pace on his side than what his track position potentially says, but he just hasn't been able to put it all together consistently. There's a free position for him as he passes John Snell. John just, again, kissing that wall on the left-hand side, very, very easy to do on that change of direction as you start climbing back up through the infield.
So it's a lot of curb there, and as he gets to the power, it loops around on him, and he finds the wall, and John Snell drops a couple of spots. From that, for 2nd, Merritt's closed the gap, and he's so close. We'll have 5 laps to go as Freer crosses the start-finish line. Stovall, Merritt cross the start-finish line, looking for Merritt's nose in 3rd. That second place is getting closer and closer, and also we're getting a little bit wetter.
Yeah, that gap from second to third now down to 0.2 of a second. You can visually see there is about a car length between them. So John Merritt will be feeling a little bit of aero push there as he looks for an opportunity to get down the inside again, exploring those track conditions, and he gets a really good drive. So he's going to have the inside line here for turn number 4. But we did see Timmy Harris, my apologies, hold it around the outside earlier on. It looks like Jamie Stovall's going to play the exact same card and retain position 2.
Yeah, big slide in the middle of the corner there from Merritt. Not enough grip to get the power down, put the pressure on. He's where he likes to run tighter. And Jamie Stovall runs wider around the outside. And rain getting lighter, tiny bit more sun coming out. Just a few little droplets. Still plenty of spray on the road. Merritt up the hill. Really want to straighten the wheel out before you give it too much throttle. We've seen how difficult it can be. Quick corner. It'd be basically full throttle in the dry. Well, it's a little bit of work on the throttle and a lot of work with the hands in these conditions. Merritt wants the outside, he dummies for the inside, he's moving all over in Jamie Stovall's mirrors, and we're still only 2 seconds behind the race leader here as well.
Yeah, John Merritt getting pretty creative. He's got to think outside the square if he's going to try and pressure Jamie into a mistake. Moving left, moving right, making sure we're filling every single mirror that Jamie has with that red and yellow distinct livery. Got pace on his side, but as Murray Walker once said, it's one thing to catch him, it's another thing to pass him. So from one great commentator across to another. Dave, your thoughts?
My thoughts is we're side by side here with a great exit from John Merritt. He gets his nose in a second place. Jamie Stovall, the championship leader, just a few points clear of his teammate Tom Freer heading into this one. Is now 2 positions behind him on the road in the final race with only a couple of laps left to go. Merritt looks like he's done the job there, and when Merritt can use the line that he wants to run, we know he's super quick. So now he's ahead. He should be able to run pretty well.
It is a heck of a gamble, but Jamie Stovall may have been better off just not pushing that, allowing John Merritt to get ahead and potentially catch his teammate Tom Freer, because if there's any chance that John's going to get the lead of this race, that would bring the championship back into Jamie Stovall's hands at the moment.
Bottom of your screen is Milton Borton and John Snell, I think. John Snell, Tony Baker, I should say. Looks like Tony Baker gets ahead of Snell just there. Merritt remains ahead of Stovall, and here we go. John Snell now between Tony Baker and Brent Wassell.
Yeah, some of those darker livery, the black cars, are hard to tell with all that spray on circuit. There is plenty of it still being kicked up from these wide Formula tyres as we are on lap 8 of 11. So 3 short laps to go here in the final round of the final race of Aussie Cars Season 3. This is Brent Wassell going for a bit of a slip slide and an off-track excursion at turn 2. Bit of a flick spin, over corrects it, gets back up to speed. And you can see John Snell and Tony Baker just sneaking through the inside there. So that's how that all unfolded.
Merritt's back behind Stovall, so Stovall hasn't given up. Tim Harris not too far off the back of this picture either. Stovall leading him to the right-hand side of the pit straight. John Merritt pulls out of the toe, back onto the regular racing line, looking at the outside of turn number 1, side by side, kicking up the spray at Barcelona on the way into turn 1, swooping around the outside. John Merritt goes back into second place to make this a super tight championship. Taking a look at how, just a bit deep, bit wide, just a bit of time lost.
So Baker taking the slowdown lap, which doesn't actually exist in this series, but nonetheless off the racing line out onto the painted green stuff, less than optimal, and that's how Jamie Stovall got back through and allowed Timmy Harris to get a sniff. So he's not out of this, he's still sitting in P4, just off the podium. There's one little mistake from the 2 drivers in front, and he can find himself potentially taking home some more silverware, virtually.
So there he goes. In behind Stovall, in behind Merritt. Freer now with a 3-second race lead, and he's doing everything in this final race to give himself a chance to be champion. But at the moment, it's what happens behind him, not what he does, that will decide this Aussie Car Championship. Henry and Adrian Duke here, both very similar in speed on the final lap, and then John Snell and Brent Wassell. Well, we saw what happened to Wassell at turn 1. He lost time there, and then he's quicker when he has a clean lap. But consistency is the first thing to go out the window when the rain falls.
Yeah, and he wouldn't be alone. There's a lot of drivers that have been caught out by the changing conditions over the course of tonight. There's a good gap now between John Merritt and Stovall. So Merritt is pushing. Its gap is down to 1.2 seconds as the leader is off in the dirt on the 2 laps to go. Tom Freer has not been able to handle the pressure that John Merritt's applied. Fastest lap of the race and a new race leader.
Tom Freer gives it away, leading the race with a chance to win the championship. In the final corner, he carries too much speed, he spins it around, and with just 2 laps to go, looking at a chance of an Aussie Car Championship, Tom Freer has not been able to hold on. John Merritt goes through to the lead of the race. Jamie Stovall goes to a far more comfortable championship position. Tim Harris goes into a podium spot as Freer rejoins in 4th. Behind them is Warren Henry and Adrian Duke in 5th and 6th. We will go the full 11 laps. It's 2 to go.
Got to remember, John Merritt started this one back in P13 after having technical difficulties in race number 1. We did say race 2 tonight, the final was going to be a redemption race, and that's exactly what John's done, taken it by the reins and shown his dominance in these changing conditions to lead the race. So still a lap and a half to go before we can celebrate his win, but at the moment it has been a faultless effort to get to the position he's in.
So once again, where's the grip? The grip on throttle is around the outside for Adrian Duke as he gets his nose in front before the next corner, takes the position. Classic wet racing move to just go around the outside, get earlier to power and move ahead. It's Jamie Stovall in second. It's not going to be easy sailing home for him. Tim Harris has caught him, but for Jamie Stovall, if he's ahead of Tom Freer, you don't even need to get the calculator out. Stovall's champion if he finishes ahead of Freer.
White flag this time by for John Merritt. It is the 2nd and 3rd on the screen. We get the white flag waved by Barney as they cross the finish line as well. So 13 more corners to tackle, to manage and to manoeuvre in these tricky conditions. Timmy Harris looking like he really wants to take that second step of the podium. It's going to be a bit of a balancing act for Jamie Stovall in P2, but he could potentially just roll out of the throttle and let Timmy have this if he wanted to. But once a racer, always a racer. I'm sure Jamie's going to take this down to the wire, and we want to finish the season in the best possible way he can.
Final lap from Barcelona, and Harris is looking one way and the other on Jamie Stovall as they head into turn 5. Everyone looking a lot wider through that corner because when they go tight, that's what happens. No traction, no mid-corner speed. Stovall off the hook for another corner. Neither of them are going to catch John Merritt. His pace in these conditions, amazing. I think in dry races, we've definitely seen those Synergy Sim Racing teammates, Jamie Stovall and Tom Freer, look super quick. But once there's a bit of rain, the experience of John Merritt makes him lightning quick.
Yeah, so John in the final sector of the final lap of the final race at the moment. The battle for 2nd, 3rd on screen. This is separated by 0.3 of a second. Time is running out for Timmy Harris if he wants to get things done. Textbook outside where the racing line for Jamie Stovall at the moment. A couple of corners to contend with for him. It looks like he may have this under control, or the leader is going into the final sector in the last couple of corners.
Well, from last on the grid in the final race of the season for Ozicar Formula 4, John Merritt worked his way from back to front and he wins the race. Jamie Stovall in second claims a championship. He's Ozicar Formula 4 season champion. Tim Harris joins him on the podium there. Tom Freer, he had a chance until that mistake, and I think he is quite frustrated with himself. And I think it shows so clearly there. Adrian Duke will come through for fifth. Ira Felberg's going to go a lap down. He's got some dramas there. At the same time, off the road, Nathan Verney has struggled so much in these wet conditions. Not alone, Milton Morton also struggling on the final lap. Adrian Duke, Warren Henry, and then Jordan Dakin will come across to take the checkered flag. It's not been easy, but Jamie Stovall, 2 great races, 1 win, 1 second place, and managed that 4-point championship lead to just keep ahead.
Tony Baker crossing the line there about 1.5 meters shorter than he potentially could have there, missing the front half of his car from the front axles forward. So
I hope he's still got the transponder.
Potentially. Quick look at the Ozicar.net replay. Still got the nose there as he makes his way around through the final corner, out onto the Astro or onto the painted exit of the final corner. Does a 720 pirouette before crossing the line in 3/4 of what's left of a Formula 4.
Not a dissimilar accident to what took Tom Freer away from the lead of the race, all things considered. It looks like John Merritt taking a victory lap. I think a well-deserved one. Going to kick the tail out a little bit. I don't think F4 cars have a clutch pedal you can kick and just keep the tail out. It's a hand paddle on these ones.
The rest of the drivers circulating around the track at the moment. Looks like, are they going to pull into the pit lane? Looks like they are, while our race leader goes on to potentially chuck donuts on the main straight. But Jamie Stovold, our championship leader, celebrating with a bit of a weave into pit lane before calling it a night.
Still had Nathan Verney completing his final lap of the race, while the others... he just has it and he's thrown it into the wall. So again, there was a couple of cars that took a little while to come around and see the finish of the race. And once they all did, it shook out like this. John Merritt winning from Jamie Stovall, but second was enough to secure the Ozicar Formula 4 Championship. Tim Harris, another good race from him with a lot of speed. Tom Freer, he was leading, he had a chance, and he had a mistake. He was doing a lot, but not quite enough at that point. And frustrating one for him. He came close, but couldn't land it. Adrian Duke, Warren Henry, Jordan Dakin, Tony Baker, John Snell, and Milton Borton completing the top 10 from their Nathan Verney, Ira Felberg, and Brent Wassel in the final race of the season for Ozicar Formula 4. We've got a couple of race winners and a champion to speak to.
So as we go for a bit of a pit walk, we will come across, I think we'll start with Timmy Harris, as I've found him in pit lane. Tim, welcome to the Simspeed commentary box.
Thanks, mate. I'll be on my best behaviour, I promise.
Thanks. Well, I don't know where to start. We'll start at the start, I guess. What happened after the lights went green in race number 1?
I don't know what you're talking about. What? What?
Can't recall. Put those things out of your mind. Well, for those that weren't tuned in at the time, a bit of a jump start there gave yourself a bit of a pit lane penalty, which put you behind the 8 ball from the get-go. But the speed that you had in race number 1 was second to none compared to anyone else on the circuit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a habit, isn't it? But yeah, no idea. I hadn't driven this thing, I don't think, in the wet here or really in the wet at all. So it was a real interesting sort of set of circumstances in the track as well. It was really good fun like this, I think, with this car. Glad it wasn't any wetter than what it was.
Yeah, it was changing conditions, but it wasn't torrential rain, and whatever the conditions were seemed to really suit you, because the way you made your way back through in race number 1 to potentially battle for the podium there, I just think missing out in the last couple of corners there, throwing it all on the line to increase your grid spot for race number 2. But a great result tonight, P4, P3 to round out your Formula 4 campaign here in Ozicar. Been a bit of an up and down season, but you've had an absolutely some stellar results over the course of the last 6 rounds.
Look, I've had a lot of fun, I think, is what I've had. So I think I missed one of the rounds because I was crook or something like that. But no, it's just been a ball. So thanks to Ira and Ozicar, all the supporters, for making this happen. So yeah, awesome.
So again, you've had some great success with both yourself and your teammates. The Toyota Echuca Pulse Tuning team out there, well represented over the course of the season. Everybody's got behind you, supported each other, I guess, to get you to this point. And Barcelona, an absolutely stunning track, like I said earlier on. Doesn't matter what vehicle you throw at it. It produces some great racing, and then of course some changing weather conditions we saw tonight really mixed up the pot.
Yeah, it's good to have Johnny back, of course, and yeah, his speed is great. So it's good to have someone like that in the team just to sort of help us along, push us along a bit, and bit of setup tweaking and all those sorts of things that comes with the someone that's got the pace. So yeah, good to have Tony and John. Don't know if we had Brendan actually tonight, but I know he did some laps yesterday. So no, good fun, and yeah, looking forward to the next season of Formula Ford, I think. Yeah,
speaking of which, we'll see the team and yourself back for Formula Ford next season as we make our way around the UK. Is that a car you're feeling relatively comfortable in, or have you had not much experience?
I've done a couple of Formula Ford races every now and then, and it's probably one of my more favourite cars. I think sort of no aero, although the aero in this car is great. It's why it wasn't so popular this season, I don't know, but yeah, Formula Ford's probably my favourite open wheeler anyway. So yeah, I'll be back for that, and hoping we can get some more cars on the grid for that and have a bit more open wheeler fun.
Beautiful. That might just be a warning to all the other drivers. So we're stepping into your little niche preference of a vehicle. So make sure if you're out there tuning in tonight, make sure you tune in for the final season of 2024. Get behind the drivers out there and support them as they make their way around the UK. Thanks for joining us this season, Tim. It's been a great result. You've put on some great races over the course of the 6 rounds, and we look forward to talking to you again next season.
No worries, mate. Looking forward to jumping the starts already.
There we go, Timmy Harris tonight, P4, P3, pretty strong way to end the Season 3 Formula 4 Championship campaign. And Dave, I think you've gone for a walk with the microphone, and you may have John Merritt with you.
Yeah, from back to front, from last to first in that one. Bit of everything for you, John.
Yeah, it was an interesting night in this seat, yep. I was in the pit and missed the start in race 1, and then the computer iRacing decided to glitch and throw me out. So, yeah, made for a fun night.
You came back with a lot of passes in that second one, and the weather just moving around a little bit, and the grip so as well across both races.
Yeah, no, there was definitely a variance. I think track was quicker in race 1, and probably that consistent drizzle into race 2 made it a bit slicker, but definitely massive fun in those conditions. It wasn't that deluge rain, which I think would be pretty difficult in these with aquaplaning. So it was just wet enough to make it fun.
If it rained every week, you'd be champion, right?
I don't know about that. But I don't mind the wet. Although I must admit, didn't know until the end of quali or halfway through when one of the boys said, we might get some weather. And so there was no testing. There was no secret setup. So it was, and which is good actually. Bolt on some wets and give it your best.
And your best was good enough for the win in the final race there. Who was toughest to pass, and what's the challenge of passing around here?
Oh, I think it's probably a lot of it was throttle modulation. So just making sure you get that power on without losing momentum. But Jamie was definitely probably toughest to get around, but I think Tom had good pace too, and just lost it at that final turn there. So, but had a couple of big moments myself. It could have easily thrown it away. So, with the way the night had played out, you sort of get the red mist on and go when you start at the rear. So it was a couple of close moments for sure.
Summer's coming, some good camping family holiday weather. If you were going to put roof racks and a tow bar on a Kluger, where would you go?
Oh, you'd have to come to Echuca, the Mighty Murray, and visit Echuca Toyota.
congrats on your race number 2, and best of luck with your racing going forward, John.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. And thanks to Simspeed for the broadcast.
Well, there's only 2 people left to chat with, Jason Fewens, and it's only right that we go now to the race 1 winner and the Ozicar Formula 4 champion, Jamie Stovall.
How's it going, guys?
Well. 4-point lead leading into the final round. It was all about managing your position, and at one point there, it looked like Tom potentially had the points he needed to get over the top of you, Jamie. But calm, level, cool head, and tonight P2 was enough to secure what has potentially been one of the best championships we've seen here at Ozicar for quite a while.
Yeah, the Formula 4s have been great fun. I mean, as any Aussie car series just seems to be a blast. So, yeah, coming into this round being only 4 points ahead, I knew Tom was probably going to be faster than me as usual. But then the rain came down and changed everything up. He was still faster, but yeah, just had a few little mistakes, and yeah, managed to kind of slot my way through.
Well, the rains pretty well started during qualifying, and from the moment the lights went green, it was changing conditions, going from slippery to worse, and then sort of cleared up a little bit as the day went on. But starting off the grid in race number 1, took control relatively early of the pace, and that put you in a pretty good position for race number 2, and then not quite getting the start you wanted off the line for race 2.
Yeah, it was sort of getting a feel of where the grip was in race 1. Me and Tom were talking about it at the start, and we were seriously contemplating going onto the slicks. It was that sort of weather where it had just started raining, so you couldn't really see where the grip was. You had to feel it out. And yeah, it was sort of just a game of chicken of who can push the most in the wet and find the grip. Yeah, in the second race, yeah, I guess John was by far the fastest in that one, coming from the back and just slicing his way through the field. Yeah, that was hard not to crash, seeing him behind and going, oh well, if he can go that quick, then surely we can too. But yeah, it's sort of finding your own limits in that kind of weather and sticking with it.
Yeah, well, to his own credit, he said he's just about lost it a couple of times on that charge back through. But what were your thoughts when you saw the relative come down as Tom was sitting in the dirt on the left-hand side late in the race?
You hate to see it, but yeah, as a teammate, you don't like seeing it when their race screws up, especially like that. You want it to sort of be a fair battle, but you know, at the same time, you know that's every car that passes him is less points. But yeah, yeah, stoked to have come away with another win. As I said before, the Formula 4s have just been a heap of fun. I'm not sure why it hasn't been the most popular. But yeah, hopefully next season with the Formula Fords, it all comes back and lots more people come back and race.
A virtual trophy to the virtual trophy cabinet tonight. Congratulations. So you will be back to defend your championship campaign for the Formula Ford as we make our way around through the old Blighty.
Absolutely. Yeah, I need to get the Formula Ford back out the garage and learn how to drive it again. Yeah, dust her off. Well, I think after the last round at Brands Hatch that we did in them, I think she's fairly clean. But yeah, it'll be fun to get back in those things. They're always a lot of fun.
Well, go and spray the champagne, drink the milk, whatever you do to celebrate a championship here tonight. Congratulations. It's been 6 long weeks. It's been a close battle that really did go down to the final laps of the final race. So congratulations, cool level head, and we look forward to talking to you again next season.
Yep, see you next season. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
Season 3, 2024 Aussie car champion there, Jamie Stovall, celebrating with his team tonight after a stellar performance over the course of the last 6 rounds.
Yeah, an epic season and great performance from particularly the Synergy Sim Racing guys. You've seen a few of the others that were able to give them a run for their money, John Merritt, Tim Harris at times there, and a revolving cast coming through for this season. And of course, at the end of the season, we got to speak to someone. It's Mr. Aussie Car, And Ira Felberg joins us. 11th and a 12th for you, but you'll probably be reflecting more on the success of the season.
Yeah, let's not talk about that, shall we? That was bad. I think I have to actually look into it because I was really bad. I spun about 6 times. I think maybe set up. I did a few changes, but yeah, that sounds like an excuse. But anyway, yeah, and it was a pretty good season. It was a bit of a shame the car wasn't more popular, to be honest. But it's a bit hard with iRacing because it's popular in the public lobbies, but you can't always tell if that's popular in Australia. And we did round it before, and it was okay. But yeah, I think tin tops probably get more. But I'm looking forward to going back to the Formula Ford. I've had a few messages and a bit more interest about that. So yeah, but look, it was good fun. It's a really fun car to drive. It's shame it's not more popular, like I said. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. So yeah, just it was good season all in all. Nice clean racing.
And a great championship finale at the end there. There was always a chance that Tom Freer could usurp Jamie Stovall late on, and a little bit of drama at the end there as well. Jamie held on very well, all that considered. We did have a little look already at the calendar for the upcoming season. Talk us through your thoughts there.
Oh yeah, so basically I did make a couple of small changes there. Just got rid of, because of the new track, basically, Cadwell Park, which is pretty good, pardon me, looking track. They're adding that, so I dropped Knock Hill because that's one of those tracks. It's probably not a bad track to drive in real life, but it just doesn't quite translate over to the sim, I don't think. It's quite technical. So yeah, and the UK Formula Ford season always used to finish off in Spa, so they're doing a new scan on this update, so I thought that'll be cool. So yeah, Cadwell Park, Silverstone International, which is just the short version, Brands Hatch Grand Prix, Donington National, so the short version there, Snetterton 300, and yeah, the Enduro for the last round at Spa on the new scan. So should be a lot of fun, and we're going to the UK, so it's bound to rain.
Now, how many seasons of Ozicar total across all of it are we coming up to here? Because it's been a fair journey.
Actually, I'm glad you said that, David, because I was just sort of reflecting before the race when I was sitting there, and I was thinking, wow, like 33 seasons so we've done, so coming up to season 34, and every single race of every single season has been broadcast live by yours truly, you guys. So yeah, big thanks to Jay, and obviously you and Jason, who make it entertaining. It's one of the things I look forward to, watching the broadcast back every week. So yeah, it's been 34 seasons, and we must be doing something right. So it's amazing how quickly time passes, especially when you're my age.
Ozicar's had some good partners over the journey as well. How we tracking there?
Yeah, it's pretty much same sponsors. I got to double check with everyone, but there are not too many changes there. So Ozicar, I kind of set it up to run sort of what would you say, like self-sufficient. So it's a good little system, and yeah, all the sponsors are on board, and then that way you're not chasing your tail. You know, that's how you keep something going for a long time, is make it so it runs itself in some ways, and you're not always chasing sponsors and all that sort of stuff.
Well, from our perspective, a great season. Came down to the final race, and everyone doesn't have to wait too long before we can go Ozicar racing again. If they're watching right now, where are they going to go to find all the details, throw their name into the hat, all of that stuff?
Yeah, best place at the moment is the Ozicar Facebook page. Doing some work on the website in the background, but it's always taking longer than I think. Craig's been working away, and so have I, so we're getting it through it slowly, but it's problematic. So yeah, Facebook, Ozicar, or the Discord, where all the links are on the Facebook page. And entries actually open in a week for Formula Ford, which will start in 2 weeks' time, and we race every second Monday night.
Awesome. Congrats again, Ira, and see you in a couple of weeks.
And yes, thanks all you guys. Thanks again. Appreciate you guys and all the effort that you put in. Thank you.
So that's the end of season for Ozicar Formula 4. Jamie Stovall, narrow points lead. He manages to hold on to that in the final races in the wet here at Barcelona to be Ozicar Formula 4 champion, with thanks to Jason Fewens, Jay Kennedy alongside me here. been David Haynes for Ozicar on Simspeed TV. Thanks to Sim Racing League's Locked On Lads Prestige Trophy Badge and Engraving, and in support of the No Social Hate campaign. We'll see you in Formula Fords in 2 weeks' time.
Dirt Racing 24 will be available September 17th. Pre-order your copy today.